So, this is our series, Presidents and Civil Rights. We've been talking about Ronald Reagan. I'm doing a special shout out for this particular topic, which I'll be speaking in code throughout. So, please catch me or read the subtitles. Okay. This is the war on recreational medicine. In 1986, before the enactment of federal mandatory minimum sentencing for the harder substance, the average federal recreational medicinal sentence for Black Americans was 11% higher than for whites. 4 years later, the average federal recreational medicinal drug sentence for Black Americans was 49% higher. Black American women's incarceration rates for all crimes, largely driven by recreational medicinal use, increased by 800% from 1986, compared to an increase of 400% for women of all races for the same period. Yeah. Reagan also signed the Anti-Recreational Medicinal Abuse Act of 1988, which further increased criminal penalties for said use. The act created a 5-year minimum and 20-year maximum sentence for simple possession of 5 grams or more of the harder substance. The maximum penalty for simple possession of any amount of powder or any other recreational medicine remained at no more than a year in prison. Due in large part to the disparity in sentencing based on the form of recreational medicine, Black Americans served substantially more time in prison for recreational medicinal offenses than whites. Black American defendants received the mandatory sentences more often than white defendants who were eligible for a mandatory minimum sentence. As law enforcement focused its efforts on the harder substances offenses, especially those committed by Black Americans, a dramatic shift occurred in the overall incarceration trends for Black Americans relative to the rest of the nation, transforming federal prisons into institutions increasingly dedicated to the Black American community. The effects of mandatory minimums not only contribute to these disproportionately high incarceration rates, but also separate fathers from families, separate mothers with sentences for minor possession crimes from their children, leave children behind in the welfare system, create massive disenfranchisement of those with felony convictions, and prohibit previously incarcerated people from receiving social services such as welfare, food stamps, and access to public housing. You didn't know that in some states, felons were not eligible for social services, did you? Yeah. The Reagan administration's war on recreational medicine resulted in harsh social consequences, including large numbers of young Black men imprisoned for long sentences, the exacerbation of recreational medicine crime despite a decrease in illegal use in the United States, and increased police brutality against the Black community, resulting in injury and unalivings.